Soil testing confuses more homesteaders than it helps. Not because the science is wrong, but because we tend to overcomplicate it and procrastinate. We treat soil like a math equation we have to solve perfectly. But on a real homestead, perfect numbers don't always give you a better growing season. Today, I'm going to walk you through a simple, practical, repeatable way to understand your land before growing season starts. I'll show you how to identify your soil type, how to run a basic soil test, and what steps you can take immediately. We use AI tools that act like your own personal agronomist. Surprisingly accurate and incredibly helpful. Our land is covered in snow right now, but we collected samples back in the fall. Winter is actually the best time for planting. If you wait until you're holding a shovel to make decisions, you're already too late. Right now, the biology is dormant. The variables aren't changing, and you can focus on the structure. Not weeds, not pests, just the land itself. If you're lucky, spring is arriving where you are right now, and the ground is clear enough for you to grab some samples. The first thing to remember, you're not chasing perfection. But for perspective, here's what ideal soil looks like. This is Ukrainian Chernozem, black gold, some of it 5 feet deep. People joke that if you stick a broken shovel handle in it, it'll sprout. It's just that fertile. And it explains why every 100 years or so, thieves roll in and try to steal it. But unless you live there, or in the American Midwest, or California Central Valley, you're going to have to work with what you've got. Here in New Hampshire, we did not win the soil lottery. Rocky, sandy, acidic ground. So, before we bought any soil tests, we needed to understand exactly what we were standing on. I use a site called acres.com. The site is mainly used to research land before a purchase, but it's super helpful for us. It's free and it shows the geological profile of your land, your parent material. A soil test without geological context is just numbers. If your land is heavy clay, you can't just magically turn it into sandy loam. Knowing your baseline helps you stop fighting geology. This is a context that most people miss. The site took a little getting used to for me, but to find your soil type, you zero in on your lot, you choose Insight, and then you choose Soil. Once you find your soil type, plug it into Google's AI tools. There you'll get the strengths, weaknesses, and practical ways to improve it. Our gardens sit on something called Colton gravelly sandy loam. It's well drained, but it's naturally acidic. To do a deeper dive into this kind of soil with respect to growing vegetables, we use the AI prompt, what are the characteristics of Colton gravelly sandy loam soil with respect to growing vegetables in gardens? And how do I improve it? What sticks out right away is the need for a massive infusion of organic material. Also, nutrients tend to wash away because the drainage is so fast. And again, as you can see, acidity is probably going to be a big problem. Now, Acres is great for starting from scratch. But we've been amending our soil for years, and not evenly. Some beds got more compost, others got more mulch, others more fertilizer, and somewhere along the line I added lime to address the acid. But I don't remember where or how much. So we need to test multiple spots. Here's a breakdown of current soil testing options. As you can see, some do an amazing deep dive and shows not only NPK and pH, but organic material, micronutrients, and a bunch of other things. But look at the price. We are planning on testing 10 spots, so this just isn't in our budget. Instead, we went with the tried and true rapid test, which gives you pH, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, your basic NPK. I collected samples from 10 distinct areas and kept them separate. For rapid test, you need to use distilled water. Testing pH first, I started with an area that was mainly untouched. Surprisingly, it wasn't too acidic. Now, an area with a lot of TLC looked similar, but a bit more neutral. One place I wanted to test was the soil in my swamp. It has thousands of years of rotting leaves, and I was hoping that it would be an amazing source for compost. Now, I don't know if you can see this, the light doesn't show it all that well, but it was just way too acidic. Overall, most pH levels are actually in the healthy range. Probably thanks to adding that lime from years ago. To test nutrients, you need to mix the soil with water and let the solution settle. For nutrients, things got a little bit more interesting. The first area had almost no nitrogen or phosphorus, but plenty of potash. The high TLC area had good nitrogen, great potash, but still almost no phosphorus. The swamp soil was actually not as good, so I'm glad I didn't add that as compost because I'd only be increasing acidity. So here's the final report. pH is mostly good. Nitrogen varies across beds. Phosphorus is terrible everywhere, and potash is solid across all the gardens. I asked AI about phosphorus and why it's such a problem. The answer? In well-drained soils, phosphorus washes out fast. Quick fixes include triple phosphate or bone meal. In long-term, rock phosphate apparently works really well. One thing I did last minute was simply take a picture of my notes and ask ChatGPT for recommendations. It gave me a full breakdown tailored to each area and even generated a downloadable PDF. So I'm looking forward to implementing a lot of those recommendations. No matter what your soil test says, there are things that almost never hurt. Adding organic material, adding modest biochar, and heavy mulching. I wanted to offer a few practical solutions. The first is a site called Chip Drop. They will deliver wood chips to your property for free. You just sign up and wait. That's the downside though. Tree crews looking for a place to dump wood chips pay to use the site, so you'll need to wait on them. We buy compost locally, but we've also been experimenting with composting right in the garden aisles. So wood chips one year, grass clippings the next, then plow them into the beds when they're completely broken down. We save leaves every fall. And this year, we're adding biochar. Just remember, biochar must be charged with compost or fertilizer for at least a month, or it will pull nutrients out of your soil instead of holding them there. At the end of the day, soil improvement is a long game, but getting an accurate picture with soil testing gives you real clarity. It removes guesswork and it prevents a lot of frustration. It's a must, and it's easier than it looks, and absolutely worth doing before planting season. Spring is almost here, and we'll be back outside again. Subscribe if you want to see us fix up the smokehouse and make bacon and sausages. And stick around for maple season. We'll show you the easiest way to make maple syrup, especially on a small scale. Thanks for watching Field and Forest, and here's to a healthy, productive growing season.